झाले 16 लोक झाले. ओके. जोथान पण झाला जॉईन. बरं झालं इंग्लिश बोलते कारण एकच सेकंड. मला फक्त okay. Earlier we saw that these 3-4 things are supposedly the main features of what is called as the Renaissance according to the Encyclopedia Britannica. Surge of interest. Suddenly people started becoming interested in classical learning values, then exploration of new continents and more wider acceptance of Copernican system, that is the idea that it is the sun which is at the center of the universe. Okay, have you been able to look up who was Lao Kyun? Laocoon. Were you able to Google him?
Yes, ma'am.
So who was he?
Ma'am, he was a seer, priest.
Okay, he was a priest of?
God Apollo something, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, but which city?
Trojan.
Greece.
Yeah.
Troy,
yeah, sorry.
Ma'am, they also are saying that he was, in some instances, he was also a priest in the temple of Poseidon.
Poseidon, yeah.
Yes. Okay. So why is he getting bitten by a snake?
There are various claims. Like one says that he got married though he had to keep his celibacy as he has sons. Some say that he did something wrong, like he performed a sacrifice when his wife was present in the temple, which angered the gods. There are certain things like this.
And nothing about the Trojan horse story?
Yeah, there's a Trojan horse story.
Yeah, there is a Trojan horse story.
So, what did Laocoon do? Why did he get this punishment?
Because he told them not to take the Trojan horse into the kingdom, into the gates of the kingdom. And that's why the Greek goddess Apollo sent the serpents from the sea to kill him and his sons.
Okay, so Laocoon is somebody who gets punished for being prescient. Prescient, that is he knew that the horse is not something good for the people of Troy. And he tried to tell people that this is not right, please don't open the gates and take the horse inside. But nobody listened to him. Moreover, they punished him, killed him, and eventually that led to the what? Downfall of the city of Troy. Have you seen the movie Troy, Troy?
Yes, ma'am.
If you have not, please do see it. It comes all the time on TV or maybe I don't know what. But do see the movie. It's a great movie and it will give you a lot of background information for our subject also. Okay, so why is this statue here? When we are speaking about the Renaissance, why is Laocoon's statue? Is this statue a modern statue? Will this go into the Met Museum of Modern Art? How old do you think is this statue? What style is this statue? 100 years, 500 years, 1000 years, 2000 years? How old is the statue?
I'm AD 78, 79.
That's Laocoon's time, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And the statue?
The Britannica here says the statue was for a time in the palace of the Emperor Titus, AD 79-81.
Okay, so the statue itself is at least 2000 years old?
Yeah.
Okay. And so what is the relevance to Renaissance, which happened in the 14th, 17th century, from the 14th to the 17th century?
It was rediscovered during the Renaissance.
Okay. And there were replicas that were
Okay.
created. So see this style of showing human bodies, this style of the detailing of emotions on the faces of all the three people, even the snake, you won't look at the snake as if it's only simply a snake. It's got, you know, emotions in its face. It's quite ferociously trying to bite off this poor fellow called Lao Kyun. So point here is that there is a specific style of sculpture which is quite popularly known as the Greek or the Greco-Roman style of sculpture, and this is something that was rediscovered during the Renaissance period, and this is something that was emulated, copied by the sculptors, artists, so on and so forth, painters also, of the medieval centuries between 14th and the 17th century. So really speaking, the statue should belong to 2000 years before from today, that is in the first century, but this same style was copied after 1500 years in the 15th century. This is something that indicates the popularity of the idea of Renaissance. That is, people from the 15th century, they started copying styles which were 1500 years old for them. Are you getting me? People living in the 15th, 16th century, copying something that happened 1500 years ago.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, right. So it's like if I start composing a Sanskrit poem today, like for example, Meghadutam of Kalidasa, I'm living in the 21st century, but I'm copying the style of somebody who lived in the 4th century. Because I think that Kalidasa's Sanskrit is very classical kind of expression. Something like that was happening in during the Renaissance period. That's why the statue. Okay. The picture you see here is, of course, not a real picture. I mean, not a. It's a kind of a, what do you call it? It's a representative image, which is that of a medieval village, where you can see on the left top the Lord of the Manor. In case you are seeing it on your phone screens, maybe you will not be able to read the details, and hence I'm reading them out. The big stone house is the Lord of the Manor. Yeah, that is Lord of the whole village and surrounding areas, living in a big stone house called as the Manor House. Then, pretty much on the land that he has donated, the village church is built on a small piece of land. Land belongs to the Lord. Then you have a source of water where there are meadows, or there are areas for grazing of sheep. Sheep grazed on the grassy fields, and villagers used wool to make clothes here on the right side. Then here you have small hutments, small houses really. Peasants grew vegetables in small gardens near their houses. So they are kind of self-sufficient in terms of food. You can see corn cobs here. They are growing them in their small houses. These are peasants. These are, we are not using the word farmers. These are peasants. That means the land doesn't belong to them. Land belongs to the Lord, and these guys are only working on the land. In the fall season, peasants worked to harvest crops such as wheat. You can see these people chopping off the standing crop and then loading it in a cart and then taking it out to probably the mill, and may sometimes, most likely the mill only. Here you can see it being taken to the Lord's house for storage sometimes. Then you have something called as the water wheel. Water wheel is using the power of this running water. For what? For harvested wheat was taken to the mill and it was ground into flour, which was used to make bread. And then on the right side, you have the village blacksmith. He made iron tools for farming. Okay, so this is the picture of a village during the medieval times in Europe, mostly Western Europe, I would say. But the image that it creates is that of self-sufficiency. Self-sufficiency. Can you imagine these farmers going out to London or going out to Paris, going out to God knows, Amsterdam or a place like that and having fun? Or do you think that their lives pretty much were spent inside the village itself? What do you think? Tell me.
Ma'am, they spent most of their lives in the village, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Any other? Tushar? Zothan?
Yes, ma'am.
What?
Yes, ma'am, I agree.
What do you think? These guys lived in the village or they went outside? They knew about the world outside. What is your idea?
Yes, ma'am, most likely it is restricted to the village only.
Okay. Any other answers? Anushri, Aishani, Aditi, Jolene.
Ma'am, I have no idea. I don't know, ma'am.
What do you think? If you were a peasant or if you were even a lord in the church, do you think you would be required to go out to the big city quite frequently, the way we go, for example?
No, ma'am. Because of limited means of transport and need to tend to the crops.
Need to tend to the crops, so you have enough work at home and you don't need to go out. You have your tools being made, your food is being created, harvested in the village itself, and your social structure is also limited. So these guys did not have to travel outside. Point that I am trying to make here is that this is something called as the feudal system. Fief and feudal. This whole area, these plots of land, they are called as fiefs. And this lord of the manor is the owner of this whole big area, and he gets the crops harvested with the help of these peasants. He gives them little part of the harvested crop so that they can live, and the remaining he keeps for himself, and some part of it he sends it out to the big, whoever is the king or whoever is the prominent nobleman in the surrounding areas. This is what is called as the feudal system, a system wherein fief is the unit. Clear? Feudal system?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, when we are speaking of the Renaissance, we are speaking of also the decline of the feudal system, wherein people don't have to travel outside. People, most of the needs in their lives are supplied by, they are satisfied within their locality, is what the feudal system generates. But around the time of the Renaissance, or around the time when this system starts collapsing, declining, that is when people start going outside their villages for commerce. They become sailors, they become soldiers, and they go out of their villages, which is the result for eventually the coming about of the Renaissance. So it's important for us to know what was the earlier system, hence the detailed discussion about the feudal system. Okay, so a decline of the feudal system and growth of commerce. Next important point to understand when we are speaking of the Renaissance is that there are these powerful innovations which have already happened, but they are getting applied into day-to-day lives. Paper, printing, compass, gunpowder, all these things. Along with these things, the most important thing which for us, that is the 20th and the 21st century people, something that denotes what is the Renaissance, that specific feature is revival of classical learning and wisdom. That is, these people took up the writings of philosophers, writings of various great classical authors, such as I mentioned earlier, Homer's Iliad, Odyssey. So all these greats who wrote the epics, who wrote the classical treatises on various branches of knowledge, revival of that kind of classical learning and wisdom is a very, very important feature of what is called as the Renaissance, which happens in Europe in the between the 14th and the 17th century. Clear so far? From here,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
how the encyclopedia has defined and what declined and what surged ahead. Any doubts about this? The concept of
Ma'am.
Okay. Okay, now Anushri, maybe you can discontinue this and